hello and welcome to Metal Verbalizer podcast. And my name is Erik, and today we have a bonus episode for you guys, which is amazing. And I have Chrism from Simulacrum with me. So hi, what's up?
Hello, everything's fine here. Nothing special. Been having a pretty relaxed day today, and actually haven't been doing any music work yet, but possibly after this interview I will try and compose some new Simulacrum material.
Sounds
I have
good.
a couple of new songs in the makes, sort of all at the same time, and then I try and do a little bit every day.
That's what we like to hear, right? What is... I guess we're gonna have to start from the beginning, right? So what is it about music that makes you feel like really passionate about it?
I think it's in my blood. My father played in the symphony orchestra here in Turku. He played percussion there, but now he's retired. But my whole family here on the Finnish side are very musical, so it must come from there. And then I started off with classical piano when I was 7. But then when I got to my teens, I wasn't very interested in it anymore. But then my friend copied me a cassette that had all kinds of cool bands on it, like Megadeth and Dream Theater and Stratovarius and stuff like that.
So I found out about that when I did research for the main episode that we had about you guys.
Yeah. So then it just like hit me that I want to also be a keyboard player, and I was about 13 or 14 at this time, and then I already had the basic technique to play stuff like that. But of course it was a different world, so I had to practice a lot.
I guess every kind of music is based from the classical stuff from the beginning, so scales and all of that kind of stuff is the same.
Yeah, well, there are like two schools of music. You can either study jazz and pop music, or you can study classical. And classical has technically an advantage over the jazz side, but then the jazz side, of course, you learn to improvise, which I'm not very good at doing even now.
Can be a pretty good practice to do that sometimes as well. Do you think that
I try and challenge myself like live, that usually I have from a keyboard solo I have maybe half written and then half I try and improvise.
Okay, that's a cool idea. Was it your own choice to start playing music, or was it your parents that got you into start playing music?
I think my parents brought it up, and then I said yes.
Okay.
But I think it was their idea, but then I agreed to it and kept going to them even if I wasn't so interested. I was a lazy guy, lazy child at rehearsing. But
we all have been at one point.
Yeah, but then everything changed when I really got interested into music properly.
Yeah, and I guess the reason for getting into metal was partially that cassette that you got.
Yeah, and this one friend I had, who was the same age, and he was into all these bands, and he was practicing to play guitar at the time.
Okay. Yeah, I guess guitar and piano is two of the most common instruments, isn't it?
Yeah, but probably if you are interested in rock music, I would say that keyboards and piano aren't on the top of the list. It's drums and guitar.
Okay.
What everybody wants to play.
Yeah.
Keyboardists are seen a little nerdy, and nobody wants to do it. But I'm glad I did it, because I have a lot less competition than the guitarists I know.
Yeah, there are a lot of guitarists out there. And since you guys have been playing music for so long, what would you say is the best and the worst part of being a musician?
Well, it's a lot different than what I thought when I was a teenager. I thought that at this point, when I have released albums and stuff, I would be driving around in a Ferrari and I would be a millionaire. But it doesn't quite go like that. So
Yeah.
the worst side in the music industry that there isn't a lot of money going around, and a lot of these musicians that people think are professional musicians and rock stars, they might have actually side jobs.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky that I can work 100% in the music industry. But even I can't make all my money from just playing the keyboard. So
Yeah.
I do production work and sound engineering also.
Mm.
But then the best side is for me the best thing is when I have finished arranging all keyboards for an album and I have recorded everything and I get the finished product in the mail and it has the album cover and it I am I think that for me albums are more important than live shows because they are kind of my legacy, what I will be leaving behind me when I one day pass on. But
it's easier to look back at it as well.
Yeah, I do really enjoy also playing live. But if I would have to choose, then the best thing would be doing getting an album completed.
Yeah. What would you say? When we think about what it takes to be a musician, obviously skill-wise you need to be able to play an instrument, but I'm thinking more like mentally. What does it take mentally to be working as a musician?
Nowadays, it's a lot different than it was in the 80s. In the 80s, if you had enough fans, you could like behave however you wanted. But nowadays, because of the internet, there are so many good musicians out there that if you are not very professional, you have to always do everything by the deadlines, and you have to be able to do the job that is given to you, or then the band finds quite easily a new musician to replace you if you are not trustworthy.
It's much easier to access new musicians nowadays thanks to social media as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean, that you really have to be super professional nowadays if you want to make a living in the music industry.
Yeah, and a little bit of a fun and small question. Since you can live on your music, which is amazing, what is there something that special that you would be or become if you wouldn't become a musician?
If I wouldn't have become a musician, I guess I would have just ended up being something boring like a salesman. But yeah, when I was a kid and I was getting into the metal music, I was also very keen on skateboarding.
Okay.
So I did a lot of skateboarding, and like the two were kind of fighting each other. Which do I want to be? But seriously, I wasn't good enough to be a real skateboarder.
Okay.
And I chose music, and I started focusing more and more on music. And I quit skateboarding because I was frightened that I would break my hands. So
they're important to create the awesome music that you guys create. So
yeah, but sometimes, maybe once a year, I like to get my old skateboard out and go and just do some basic tricks.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a very fun sport.
A little bit about you guys' influences. I guess you can touch a little bit more about your own influences, but do you know a little bit about the other guys' influences as well in the band?
Yeah, I do. The guys who have been originally with me in the band since the beginning, so that would be my brother Solomon on guitar, and Olli on bass, and Niklas on vocals.
Mm-hmm.
So they were almost from the start, or all of them. So yeah, they all kind of have the same influences I have.
Okay.
So Dream Theater and Stratovarius and Rhapsody.
Okay.
And maybe Sonata Arctica. But then Niklas is 4 years younger than me.
Okay.
So he had also some other influences that didn't really work for me, like the new metal genre came.
Okay.
And Korn and bands like that. So because he was a little younger, that's what people were listening, or his aged kids were listening more to.
Okay.
It was new metal.
Yeah, I haven't gotten around to those new genres either.
Yeah. So but then like our drummer Tatu, he isn't really a prog metal guy. He's learned to do it in the process of being in the band. So maybe the most progressive music that he likes is Meshuggah.
Okay.
Which is more like rhythm based, really aggressive stuff.
Mm.
But yeah, I think his favorite band is Pantera.
Okay. But, those are pretty good.
Yeah, but he likes our music, and he thinks it's really fun to play. So
yeah.
So he's been in the band now for quite many years already.
Yeah.
The other singer, Erik, he's probably a little bit more on the power metal and hard rock side.
A little bit like me.
Yeah, yeah. So, but he also likes being in the band and singing the vocal melodies we come up with. So
it's not too far off from power metal, isn't it?
No. It's yeah. So we all kind of have tastes that overlap a little bit, but there isn't like one band for everybody that they like the most.
Yeah. Did you have any particular influences before you got that cassette from your friend?
No, I was so young. I was probably like 12 or something when I got this cassette. So I guess it was just like children's songs. But my daddy, he had a lot of old vinyls. So he had Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin and Colosseum and Genesis and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So I did get to hear this kind of music at home, like from the 70s, 70s prog. So I guess I got some influences also from my dad.
Yeah. What was the inspiration or reason that you guys decided to start a band?
Well, I'm just that kind of guy because my idols, like the guys from Dream Theater, they had a band, so I wanted a band. So I just like I went to a music high school, sort of a high school that was it had more music lessons, and there was a band room in the school where you could go and play. You could book it. So I just talked to guys from my school who also played some kind of instruments, and then we just like formed the band.
Yeah.
And but it was more like just for fun. For starters, we were just like playing in this school's band room.
Yeah. And I guess that's a little bit about how you guys met as well. And well, obviously your brother is kind of obvious. One more thing.
True friends, like Ollie wasn't at our school.
Okay.
But his good friend was at our school. So
okay, so you guys became introduced to him through that other friend.
Yeah, this guy called Sami Usola played like, he hasn't been in Simulacrum, but in the early times when we were just jamming in the band room at school, he played guitar and he knew Ollie, so that's how I met Ollie.
If we were talking a little bit about when you guys are on tour, I have heard a lot of the different things about this, but what do you guys listen to when you're like out on tour but not on stage, like in the tour bus or something? Or do you guys try to listen to as little music as possible at that point?
I don't. When I've been on a tour bus, I don't remember there would have been very much music playing all the time.
I
think people need to like focus and calm down, and at least the music can't be loud. So
rest the ears a little bit.
Somebody might be like sleeping because these tour buses have beds on them, and probably after the show nobody wants to listen to music either. But probably sometimes there's been a couple of parties on the bus after a gig, so then probably there has been some music, but I can't remember anything specific.
Well, you gotta rest your ears. So at some point, so well, you and my brother was the two that contacted each other first. And at that point, you mentioned that you played the keys for James Labrie of the Dream Theater. How did you get into that?
Well, it's got to do with the fact I told earlier, that I find that making an album is the most important thing. And this kind of proves it, because there is you can draw a direct link through the albums that what led me to this point that I'm on James Labrie's album now.
Okay.
So first there was Simulacrum. Then the guys from Adamantra, they're a little bit older, and they're also a Finnish progressive metal band. They asked me because they had heard the Simulacrum album.
Okay.
And then Paul from Eden's Curse had heard the Adamantra album. So then through Adamantra I got into Eden's Curse, and then Paul wrote the new James Labrie album. So Paul asked me to do the keyboards for it.
Cool. And on Instagram, one more thing that you mentioned on Instagram was that with Simulacrum last October, you recorded a live show. What was the reasoning behind doing that project? And where can people enjoy it?
2 videos have been released, 2 songs from the live show on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/simulacrumofficial. And the reason why we did it was just it was simple, because our album Genesis had come out last February, and we were trying to book shows, but because of COVID we couldn't do really any shows. So they were all the time pushed back the shows. So then we just decided that we're gonna film and record a live show.
Yeah.
So that we can get something out again. The idea is to release 1 song each month.
Okay.
And it will pave the way nicely towards the next album we will release.
I think it's a really cool idea. And well, if we talk about a little bit about your debut album, it must have been feeling amazing when you guys sold out all the 500 physical copies that you made.
Yeah, but back then people still bought CDs. more than they do nowadays. So selling 500 copies, maybe it felt good, but it's maybe not a miracle. There are, especially in the progressive genres, there's these nerdy guys who like to collect everything. So they bought the album, and they seem to like it because we also sold out the next album. So I don't know about this newest one. I don't know. I don't actually even know how many they printed, but I think Frontiers probably printed like quite a lot more.
Okay.
Than what the previous record label Inverse printed.
Okay.
So probably we won't sell out Genesis, but
that's sad.
There's probably enough CDs that everybody who wants to buy it can get it.
Yeah. And well, a physical copy is the easiest way to support a band, isn't it? Spotify doesn't really support the band.
Yeah, it's the best way to support both the record label and the artist. So yeah, I still I recommend people buying a physical copy.
Yeah.
If possible. And this Genesis album really should be available worldwide.
Okay, that's cool.
And everywhere. Yeah.
Have the previous albums not been available worldwide?
Probably the internet was coming up then, so probably you could order it like online wherever you wanted in the world. But you couldn't probably walk in a record store in Brazil and ask for this CD. But yeah, this new Genesis album should be available in every country.
You also mentioned a little bit about that you guys are starting to composing or maybe even recording a brand new album. Is there anything that you guys can reveal about it, or is it top secret at the moment?
I don't think it's top secret. No, we have a couple of album deal with Frontiers, so, and we have a schedule, so we have to give in the master in 2023 in June.
Yeah, okay.
So we have now like a little bit over a year, 1 year and 3 months to, like, I have to compose everything, then we have to arrange all the vocals and write the lyrics, then we have to rehearse everything, and then we have to record it, and then it has to be mixed and mastered. So there's 1 year and 3 months might sound like a long time, but if you want to do a really good progressive metal album, it's not so
easy. It's a lot of work.
So yeah, so that's why I'm now trying to, like, every day compose a little. And the ideas are flowing nicely. So
sounds good.
At the moment, it feels like this album might be a little bit more straightforward than the previous one.
Okay.
But we will see. Maybe this one will be more like Sky Divided.
Okay. Well, Sky Divided is an amazing album. Is there going to be any? Sorry.
Yeah. Go on. Ask.
Is there going to be any physical copies for this next album, or like LPs maybe, or CDs? I mean, LPs are starting to come back a little bit.
Yeah. LPs are really expensive to press.
Okay.
So it depends. I think I will have to have a discussion with the record label in June 2023 that what do they want to press? Do they want to invest in doing a vinyl also?
Yeah.
But it's really up to the record label that how much do they want to invest money into it. And then that depends on how much have we sold Genesis. that
Okay.
how much money.
So there is a risk that you guys are gonna go completely digital with this one.
No.
Okay.
Frontiers always releases a CD.
Is there any plans for tours or live shows to support this album that you are creating?
Well, we had all kinds of plans for Genesis, but then like the COVID situation still hadn't gone over, so now we have kind of like started focusing just on the new album, the next one again, and then hopefully we can tour more after the next album comes out. But if there comes some kind of good opportunities, say a rock festival in Sweden for next summer or something, we would love to do it. But at the moment everything is very unsure.
Yeah, I guess it's very COVID risky to plan a festival or something.
Yeah, COVID situation is still on, though it's blowing over slowly. But I don't know, like what are the regulations in Sweden? In Finland, they're like lifting everything now.
Yeah.
But then also there's this new war now, which is terrible.
Yeah, that's.
I'm totally on Ukraine's side in this, and I hope the war finishes soon. But I think that will also have an impact on the culture industry.
Probably.
Everything's so much more unsure now that it's also makes touring a little bit more dangerous. And I don't think bands will be going to Russia anymore. Or...
Yeah, first COVID and now this one. Since we have talked about you guys' upcoming album a little bit, how do you approach writing new material? Where does it start? Is it starting with like a cool riff, or is it starting with vocals or piano, or how does it start a little bit?
It's usually that it's either a melody or a rhythm that is playing in my head.
Okay.
So then I sit down on the piano and I try and get the material out of my head into the physical world, and then I write music like the classical way into a notation software.
Okay.
So I don't record the stuff in directly. I write it as a score. And I write all the guitars and bass and drums and everything.
Okay, you do everything in the classical notation system?
Yeah. And then the computer can play it back to me, so I hear what I'm doing. And then I just like print out the score and give the guys either notation or tablatures.
I guess the guitarist needs tablature. Or can he read?
Actually, both guitarists who are now in the band, Solomon and Antti, they both read notation, so it's not a problem. They are both guitar teachers actually. So but the previous guy Petri, he couldn't read notes, so for him I gave tablatures.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on the guy. Ollie can't read notation, so I give him tablatures.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more like of a guideline, because I'm a keyboard player, and if I write a guitar riff, there might be something that's impossible to play. So I let the guys then like change around little things to make the song work better.
Yeah. On your latest album that is out right now, Genesis, you guys did a pretty cool thing in my opinion, because at that point you decided to do 4 title tracks rather than just have one, like 4 different tracks that was called the Genesis and something. What was the idea behind that, and what's the story behind them?
If you listen to the debut album, you will notice that it already had Celestial Architect on it, the final track.
Okay.
So then but already then it was called Genesis Part 1, The Celestial Architect.
Okay.
So now for this album, I had the idea to continue the song because
Okay.
it was always meant to have more parts.
Okay.
So then we did a re-recording of Genesis Part 1, The Celestial Architect, with the current band, and I then tried to take all the themes from the first song and then like a classical composer would be composing a symphony, he uses like the themes from the first part and then he changes them around in the next parts and sees how far he can like grow the themes. And that's what I was doing in this. So you can hear in Genesis Part 2, you can hear some parts that are familiar from the first part, and the third part that's just piano. It is based on the what Celestial Architect starts off with the keyboard chords right at the beginning of the song. So the piano riff in the third part is based on that chord.
All right.
So yeah, it's kind of, I thought it would be like an adventure for the listener. If they can be bothered listening to them over and over, they will start finding all the
that's a really cool idea
to the first song.
Are we gonna see a continuation of that storyline or track in the next album?
No, that song's finished.
Okay. Are we gonna see a new one? Maybe
one day I will make a this kind of big epic again. But yeah, instead of there was the option of either putting them all as one track, like Dream Theater has these really long half-an-hour songs also. But I tried to compose all the 4 parts in a way that they also work on their own. So if somebody is in the mood just to listen to part 3 today, they can do it without scrolling through the whole track. So that's why it's on 4 different tracks instead of one long song. But it's like something like 33 minutes, so it's quite a big epic. And I have to say, it was quite hard composing this kind of song.
I can imagine.
Keeping it interesting, I think it took me like a whole year to complete it.
It's hard, especially when you have those instrumental parts that is not supported by a vocal line, to like keep them interesting for 3-4 minutes. But I think you guys did an amazing job.
Yeah, you have to really think about everything, and then when you have composed something, you have to have a few days break and then go back and listen to it. Is it good or not? And it's a lot of work, and that's maybe one reason why I'm thinking that this next one will be maybe a little easier and a little bit more straightforward.
Okay.
But I'm trying to still compose really, really good songs, though, but just maybe a little bit more simple this time around.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be disappointed about your next album. I think it's gonna be a great one.
Yeah, well, even I don't know that yet because I have only like started off on the journey, but we will see.
I can imagine. I can imagine. So yeah, well, you guys' sound is really heavy, and I'm a big nerd about gear. So can you talk a little bit about the gear you guys use? I think a lot of listeners would be interested in that as well.
The gear we use. My brother uses Ibanez guitars.
Okay.
But it's kind of hard for me to talk about their gear. I don't really know, but I can talk about my own gear.
Yeah, talk a little bit about your own gear.
Yeah. So I'm sponsored by 6 companies at the moment. Roland keyboards.
Okay.
That was like the first endorsement I got. It was when I joined Eden's Curse. It was about maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
I got this deal, and then since I have also I'm endorsed by Now Sonic keyboard stands.
Okay.
And then on the software side, Steinberg, so Cubase and Nuendo they make.
Is that what you use to mix and master the albums as well?
Yeah, I use Nuendo. It's kind of like the big brother of Cubase.
Okay.
So it also has video options in it.
That's cool.
Yeah, and because
that's a cool in a DAW, because that's something that you can kind of miss sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think there is any so much like video editing possibilities, but there's the possibility of composing over a video. So you can have the video in Nuendo and it plays it back, and you can compose music to it. So it's Nuendo is more marketed for game designers and video composers, film composers, but it has all the same music possibilities than Cubase has also. So that's what I've been using. And then my favorite plugins are by a company called Isotope, which I'm happy they are also endorsing me.
Yeah.
And really high quality equalizers and compressors and
that's cool.
And mastering software.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking around for a B3 Hammond organ plugin.
Okay, yeah. Then I recommend IK Multimedia. They are also sponsoring me.
Nice.
And they have, in my opinion, the best Hammond emulator. It's called the Hammond B3X.
I just love that Hammond sound.
Yeah, on my YouTube channel there is like a Deep Purple cover I play on it, and you can take a listen
nice.
What it sounds like.
Then we're gonna have to check that out.
One little software company still called KV331 Audio, and they have some really good synth plugins that I have been using also.
Yeah. Where do you guys see the band going in about 5-10 years?
Well, in 5 or 10 years, I think we will be on our 6th album or something. So hopefully we get there. And at the moment, everybody has good motivation, so I don't see any reason why we wouldn't get there. But but it's in this current world situation, it's very hard to do any predictions about anything. So
but creating good music might be more important than ever.
Yeah, but Simulacrum has been a part of my life since I was a teenager, so it's a very, very large part of me.
Yeah.
So I am very hopeful that in 10 years still this band will be around, and it might not have all the same guys. Somebody's life situation might change, but I think the majority of the guys will still be in the band in 10 years also.
Cool. Then you guys must have a very good friendship among each other.
Yeah, that's what makes this band different from many bands, that we all live in the same city, and that's how I've wanted to keep it. So when somebody's left, like Petri left after Genesis was released, I wanted to find a new guitarist from the area.
Yeah,
because I find it's very important also just sometimes to watch a movie with one of the guys, or go to a restaurant.
That off-stage bonding.
It makes a much stronger bond within the band, and it's much harder for anyone to leave if you are playing with your best friends.
Yeah, and I can imagine.
This is probably one reason why there's so many bands out there that do 1 or 2 albums and then they break up. But,
that's sad.
doing the music, but they're probably not like real friends. They might be like guys around the world who are recording at home and making an album.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a very good method for not for everybody. There's a bigger chance that the band will break up at some point.
Yeah. I guess you mentioned skateboarding. Do you guys have any interesting like hobbies outside of the music?
With Olli, I go and play badminton once or twice a week.
Okay.
And now, since the beginning of the year, I have been focusing on really getting back into shape. So I've been going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, and I've managed now to lose maybe like 7 kilos and gain
that's a good job.
also. Yeah, so I've this time around I really managed to I was in quite good like Superman shape when I was about 25. But
yeah.
The older I get, the harder it is to maintain it. I'm 38 now. But yeah, at the moment all the everything is going really well at the gym, and I'm getting strong again, and I'm getting some muscle definition, and yeah.
I guess it's important to stay like hyped on stage and stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think it's every musician's duty also to try and look okay on stage.
Yeah.
So you don't have to look like a bodybuilder or anything, but try and at least look decent on stage, because people are paying to come and watch you.
Yeah, you really need to keep as well that cardio going so that you can keep the energy up on stage.
Yeah, but yeah, within the band, the other guys, I think maybe going to the gym is the most common hobby,
and an important one.
Yeah, and my brother likes to do a lot of cycling and stuff like that. So he walks everywhere also. So yeah. So I think everybody in the band does at least a moderate amount of sport.
Yeah. Do you guys have like a dream venue to perform at?
I've played with Eden's Curse in a Swiss venue called Z7.
Okay.
It's in a city called Pratteln. And that's like one of the coolest venues I've played in Europe.
Okay.
And also in Germany, a venue called Matrix in Bochum. And well, my dream would be that Simulacrum would play at these venues one day.
Yeah, nice.
And the guys could experience what I experienced.
That's a nice thought. And I guess that's the favorite performance. Do you have a favorite performance that you've done with Simulacrum?
They're all pretty good, but yeah, I've always been really stoked on it. It's hard to say like what's been the best performance. The band's been around for such a long time that there's so many performances also, though we have mostly been here in Finland. But it's nice to play in front of our home crowd here in Turku. We pull in a decent amount of people usually here, and we actually will be playing at a club called Utopia next week's Thursday. There's some kind of Turku band festival going all around the city next week, and we will be like the headliner for Thursday.
Is there a lot of bands in Turku?
Yeah, there is, and lots of young guys playing in bands. So they even have the city is running a Turku Rock Academy.
Okay.
And there's like these older older rock professionals, and they are coaching these younger kids. So there is like the guitarist from Wasp is there.
That's amazing.
Sometimes. Yeah.
So Turku is the city to move to if you want to start playing rock.
Yeah, rock and metal music, but I think they coach you in anything you want to play. So it's, but yeah, they focus on like the band performance, and you can, these kids can do like their first recordings there, and it's really nice. So yeah, because of this Turku Rock Academy, I think there are quite many like upcoming new bands here.
Yeah, I think it's a very nice idea. That's
of course, Michael Monroe from Hanoi Rocks also lives here.
Oh, nice. So yeah, that's really all I have for you. Is there anything in particular that you think that I've forgotten to talk about?
No, I think it's been a really nice and good interview. Yeah, I just want to tell people that share the music of the band as much as possible, and follow us on our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. They all are. You just put Simulacrum official at the end, and you will find our pages.
I think that everybody should absolutely follow you guys and check out your guys' music, because the people will not be disappointed.
Also, yeah, we also have a web store where you can buy t-shirts and stuff. So everything little helps. Because we get some funding from the record label for each album, which is nice. But you get the money after you have given the master. So you have to like produce the album from your own pocket, and then you get the money back after you have sent it off.
Yeah.
So everything little helps. So support the band and buy some t-shirts and buy some CDs.
You should. I think that people should absolutely do that. But yeah, then there is just me to thank you so much for doing this interview with us. And thank everybody that has been listening. And if you like what we're doing over here, so I think you should follow our social medias as well. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's just Metal Verbalizer Podcast, and you should be able to find us. So thanks for listening, and have a good one. Bye for now. Erik's out.
Bye bye.